In this video, we're going over best ways to pay off debt fast, become debt-free. There are 4 steps that actually work. We'll go into each of the 4 different steps in more details, but number 1 is extra payments. Number 2 is a side hustle or a side job. Number 3 is maximize cash flow. Number 4 is bonus money that can help you get started. Now, a lot of people might not do it, but if you do and you get serious about this, this is a good stepping stone. So step number 1, avoid paying interest. Now, a normal payment, if you're not aware, when you're paying toward a loan, we're going to be kind of focusing on either student loans, credit card, debt, anything like that. So I looked into the average student loan payment. It's pretty crazy that the average is $500. So when you're paying that $500, all of that doesn't just go toward your principal or the amount that you owe. Some of it goes to interest. So I looked this up. The average interest rate on student loan is 6.5%. So it's not crazily high. Obviously, you would like that lower. And if you're able to adjust it lower, that will help you. But, so for example, if your average payment is $500 with that 6.5% interest, $50 of that $500 payment goes toward interest. So $50 over the year is $600 that's going toward interest. Poof, it's gone. It's not helping you. For credit cards, the average interest rate is over 22%. This is why credit card debt is the worst debt to be in, because 22% interest means out of that $500 payment, $180 goes toward interest. That means $2,170 a year will go toward interest. Poof, gone, not helping you, but helping your lender. So that's why I'm saying for number 1 with extra payments, those extra payments go straight toward principal. No interest. You're able to pay down that debt quicker. So that sounds simple. Well, how do you actually do that? Which is going into number 2 is side hustle or a side job. Now that also might bring up a question. Well, what if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you don't have any extra payments that you could do? And that's exactly why this side hustle or side job or extra job will help you. People have been so squeezed over the past few years due to inflation. If you've been living paycheck to paycheck, now it's even harder to live. So if you're like, it might be simple to you. Like, yeah, I wish I could make extra payments, but I simply can't. So that's a legitimate question and problem that we have to deal with. Now, a side note, if you already have a side job or an extra job, or you're already working a ridiculous amount of hours and you cannot do any more, then that's why step number 3 will be important, and we'll get to that in a minute. So obviously, having a side job or a side hustle will put extra money into your pocket, so your lifestyle really doesn't have to change. It's not like you have to take money away from like your groceries or your food, like entertainment, restaurant, whatever. It's just extra that you can use to then help your debt payments paid off faster. Now, this could be an extra job, but to an extent, I don't really like that. One, if a lot of people don't like their first job, why should you get another job that you're just not going to like either? And you also want to control your time. And that's why you want to work more for yourself. This is where my side business came into play. You could obviously see stuff behind me. That's part of my side business. I sell things on eBay. And my first year just started like part-time, really not going too hard into it. But part-time, I was able to make just about $10,000, maybe $8,000 to $10,000. So you could do something like that, like a small business. I mean, I did try door dashing as well for maybe like a year or 2. And that was good because you're able to kind of control your hours. You're not like set to a certain schedule where, worrying about a boss. You're like, hey, I want to deliver for an hour and then just stop. Now, I have heard that it has become more saturated recently. A lot of people are kind of moving into that, either like Uber Eats, maybe even Uber. A lot of people are doing that because they don't want a normal job. They do that. And if more people are doing it, it's more saturated. So it might give you less orders, which means less money. But you could also sell your own things on maybe Etsy if you're able to sell like some services, or Facebook Marketplace, which is kind of a hint for our bonus for number 4. But I like things with income, consistent income. And that's why I don't want to necessarily focus on investing. Now, investing is fantastic. It's great for the long term and compound interest, right? But unless you're like dealing with some massive dividends and that's giving you income, or you're like a trader and you're constantly trading and kind of making money, that's kind of more income related, but that's also very difficult to be successful long term with that. So to break down, essentially what we're trying to do is either create this side hustle, you get that extra income, and majority of that extra income, if not all if possible, is going straight to paying off your principal on your debts. Talking about average debt for the average credit card is $8,000. Now, similar to my situation, I was able to make part-time $8,000 in that first year, so you could get out of credit card debt in a year. Now, student loans are a little bit different, unfortunately. The average student loan is $38,000. However, if you are able to make up to around that $10,000 a year, then you could pay that down in under 4 years. So that's much better than whatever normally it was set up for, whether 10, 15, 20 years. No, you could cut that dramatically. Now, before going on, I want to touch on this $10,000 because that seems huge, but let's break it down, because when things are broken down, you could start to see why it might make sense. So $10,000 a year divided by 12 months, that is just over $800 a month. If you divide that by 4, which is 4 weeks, that's just over $200 a week. So that means if you make $200, which that's a little bit more digestible, right? You can make an extra $200 a week. For a year, that can get you to that $10,000 a year. Moving on to step number 3 is not only looking at your income, not only looking at your expenses, but both. I will say this to my last breath, is cash flow is king. You need to maximize your income, and that could also mean to grow your career, so that grows your income, and at the same time trying to avoid that lifestyle inflation. A lot of people have that. When you start making more money, you start spending more money. Now, what has worked for me in my career of how I got to this point, well, now I'm making the most I've ever made, and I'm really grateful to be in this situation. Last year, I was able to hit 6 figures on my tax return, and that's pretty crazy to me. But you have to gain experience. You stay in this, job for maybe 2-3 years, you gain the experience, and then you move on to the next thing. You gain experience, then you move on, and that's how you kind of grow over time. At the same time, minimizing your expenses. You have to look at your budget, seeing where you're spending money, cut back on wants, because you don't need wants. But at the same time, I've learned more over the past few years, savings and everything, because you can only cut back so much. You could always make more. That's kind of unlimited. So once you have that situated and you're starting to pay toward the principal, paying debts down, you could kind of go 2 ways of either the debt snowball or the debt avalanche, depending on how you would rather like it. Debt snowball is kind of attacking your smaller debts first. So if you have, let's use the averages of credit card of 8,000, student loans of 38,000. You attack the credit card first. You pay that off, then you attack the student loans. The debt avalanche is attacking the highest interest rate first, which that does make more financial sense. But if you're attacking the smaller one first, that helps you psychologically and it makes you feel like you're actually doing something. But financially, you do want to take out like credit cards. You should probably focus on that one first. Now, I didn't forget about that bonus tip for number 4 is start selling your old stuff on either eBay, Facebook Marketplace. You could make, surprisingly, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you're not using. I've been selling things. This is my 3rd year selling on eBay. People buy anything. They even buy broken stuff. So if you really wanted to, that's a good way to get yourself started. Just look through your closet. It could be clothes. It could be shoes. It could be video games. It could be whatever. You'd be surprised. Look up on eBay of their value. That's a little bit of extra money that you don't have to do anything. That's not working extra. That's not doing some side hustle. That's, you already have it. Now just exchange your things that you no longer use for money. So you should be asking yourself, do you really want to do this and take this seriously? Or do you want to stay in debt and be slave to your lender for much longer than you otherwise could? You should want to have a better life for you and your family. You're already paying the debt, so you might as well start paying it off faster and get out from under these lenders. And you will feel free. So if you do have any questions, you could always leave comments. And I do have a TikTok that I've been literally documenting my reselling journey for the past 3 years. I show you everything that I buy, that I sell, to show you the profit. So if you want ideas, you could do that. I gotta find that link. I could let you know in the description. If you're coming back to viewing me from years and years and years ago, I greatly appreciate that. If you're wondering where the hell I've been, I do have a trailer video. It's probably a pretty long one. I forgot, it's been months ago, of kind of showing or telling what I've been through, giving you guys an update, and it's been pretty crazy, and I want to get back into a more routine video making for you guys. Again, that TikTok, I am much more active. I post usually videos daily, probably multiple videos daily, if not, sometimes take it easy on the weekends. But I put out a lot, mostly relating to my business, but also anything like financially related, maybe in the news or anything that's on my mind. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.